It is hard to do.
Yes.
Now, all those saying it is not easy, it is hard to do, it is not easy, it is hard to do, I understand. But if you will avail yourself to be taken through the process of teaching of the Bible, the new kingdom you want to belong to is a kingdom of forgiveness.
Then it means being a Christian and walking like Christ. It's
That
not
is
easy
why
at all.
I get angry, because being a Christian is not because you are driving cars,
Okay.
not because you have built houses, not because you have a fat bank account, because non-Christians have all these. This is what makes a Christian, because our kingdom is a kingdom born out of forgiveness.
Ha. So if you can't forgive, like the Lord's Prayer says, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive.
I want to tell you from today, don't pray that prayer if you can't forgive.
So it means forgive every sin at all.
It's yours not being forgiven.
Wow. Yeah.
It is okay to hurt. So it says, be angry, but don't let the sin. So anger is necessary. But what you do when angry is what convicts you and condemns you.
Wow.
Oh, my darling, it's not easy. It is hard to do. No.
This is the Glam Show, and welcome to the Glam Show. Happy to have you here. Today, we are talking about the Christian and her mental health. It's going to be so interesting because I have two very interesting women that have, sandwiched me here. And backstage, we were having some very interesting conversation. I want you to share. I want you to like the page. I want you to tell somebody to tell another person. Copy. Give it to somebody, because this is a very topical issue that will benefit you and benefit everybody that is connected to you. Everybody suffers some level of mental health. My husband always says that many are mad, but few are naked. It's interesting. And we are going to talk about it. For all you know, you might be having a mental challenge, but you don't know about it. A friend that you have been fighting with has a mental challenge. That is why that person behaves in the way he or she behaves. Your daughter, your son might be having a mental challenge. So stick and stay with us. I have on my right a very beautiful, beautiful woman. She looks like an Igbe woman, but she's Ampofo. She is Miss Eliza Ampofo. She is a clinical psychologist at the police hospital. Welcome to the Glam Show.
Thank you, madam. Thanks for having me.
And on my left, I love your smile, Mrs. Dorothy Owusu-Ansah, or Jima Boateng. Okay, so that Owusu-Ansah is your maiden name, Mrs. Jima Boateng. She is a mental health nurse at the Lekma Hospital. And we are going to talk about this issue. Please don't go anywhere. Before we go, I want to acknowledge my sponsors. My costume was by Letido Collections. Please, you can call her on 0243 517 438. That is 0243 517 438. My makeup was by Shades by Penna, 059885737. Today I'm in my very natural hair, but mostly Flora Hair gives me hair. She's on all social media handle. We want to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, please send your questions. Go to the comment section. If you don't want to be noticed, DM us or send into our inbox, and we will read your message and ask questions on your behalf. Please share. Tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Oh, my darling, it's not easy. It is hard to do.
Yes.
Now, all those saying it is not easy, it is hard to do, it is not easy, it is hard to do, I understand. But if you will avail yourself to be taken through the process of teaching of the Bible, the new kingdom you want to belong to is a kingdom of forgiveness.
Then it means being a Christian and walking like Christ. It's
That
not
is
easy
why
at all.
I get angry, because being a Christian is not because you are driving cars,
Okay.
not because you have built houses, not because you have a fat bank account, because non-Christians have all these. This is what makes a Christian, because our kingdom is a kingdom born out of forgiveness.
So if you can't forgive, like the Lord's Prayer says, and forgive us our trespasses
As-
as we forgive.
I
it's
want
a
to tell you
condition.
from today, don't pray that prayer if you can't forgive.
So it means forgive every sin at all.
It's yours not being forgiven.
Wow. Yeah.
It is okay to hurt. So it says, be angry, but don't let the
sun
sin. So
go down.
anger is necessary. But what you do when
With the
angry
anger. Yeah.
is what convicts you and condemns you.
Wow. Welcome back to the Glam show. And it's going to get very, very interesting. Can you please, like I said earlier on, share to somebody, copy the link, share it on a WhatsApp status, invite somebody to come and listen. I want to come to you, Miss Ampofo, first. What does your job as a clinical psychologist entail?
Okay, so as a clinical psychologist, I'm a mental health practitioner. What we do is basically about 3-4 things. So we do psychological assessment of clients. We do psychological intervention, mainly psychotherapy. Okay, and we do research as well. So when I talk about psychological assessment, we do what is known as intake assessment, and then we do psychological testing, which is a component of psychological assessment. And then we do intervention. We provide intervention to clients who have psychological issues. We also do referral. If we see a client and we realize that this client also requires the assistance or help of a psychiatrist, a physiotherapist, a dietitian, we do that. So basically the job of a clinical psychologist is to handle mental health patients. So we handle mental health patients using mainly psychotherapy.
Okay. So does your job also entail maybe somebody has an addiction? You can identify that this addiction is a mental health issue.
Okay. So addiction itself is a mental health issue.
Okay.
It's a disorder. And there are so many types of addiction. When we talk about addiction, what comes to mind to the layman is substance abuse. But there are behavioral addictions. So sex addicts are there. So there are so many types. So we have so many disorders that we handle in the clinic.
Okay.
The anxiety disorders, the depressive disorders, schizophrenia, and other related psychotic disorders. So they are broad.
It's
broad. It's broad. So the work of a psychologist entails a lot.
I'm still with you before I come to
Okay.
Mrs. Dorothy. I want to ask, like I open my, program with, my husband always says that many are mad, few are naked. What is the percentage? Everybody, they say everybody has some kind of level of mental disorder. How true is that?
Okay. So before I even come to that question answer, I just want those online to invite friends to come on board. You see, if you are doing something and don't have a reason for it, you don't show interest in that. So I want people to understand why they should be online. Why they should be concerned about their mental health as Christians. There are biblical reasons. Christians, right from the Bible, Jesus was interested in our health, not just physical health, not just spiritual health, but also mental health.
Yes.
If you look at Matthew 4:23, the duties of Jesus, he said he came to preach, teach, and then heal. It means that 1/3 of his ministry was healthcare.
Yes.
So Jesus himself Who's our role model? Was interested in health.
That's right.
And not just physical health, mental health. Because our mental health is paramount.
That's true.
The other thing is that the prevalence is high. If you look at the statistics, like you are asking, very, very high. 1 out of 4 would go through a mental health experience. That is not a disorder. But 1 out of 5 will have a disorder. That's what the statistics are saying. Yes. So
You mean 1 out of 5? So if 5 of us are here, 1 person might have a mental.
So if this congregation has 5,000 members, it means that you're counting about 1,000.
Wow.
And it's alarming. It's shocking. But most people are not aware. And people feel that when we talk about mental health, it's far away. When
It's
we
not
talk
close.
about mental disorder, it's far away, it's not close. It is within you, it's around you.
It's in your house.
Yes, if you don't suffer it, a relative will suffer it, a church member will suffer it. So there are a lot of people in the church right now who are going through a lot of mental health challenges. But because of the stigma, they can't
I will
out.
come back to you because there are some behavioral or certain people behave in certain ways in the church. If you don't take care, you will be angry with somebody, but the person has a mental health challenge. I'll come back to you. Mrs. Dorothy, or let me call you Madam Dorothy for the sake of this conversation. What is mental health?
Okay, so I will say when we talk about mental health is total health. Yes, so when we talk about mental health, it is a part of health. Let me start with what health is. According to WHO, or the World Health Organization, it talks about health being a complete state of physical, mental, social, and psychological well-being of an individual. So you might be without malaria, without typhoid, without fever, but the fact that you are not happy, or you are stressed, or you are crying consistently, you are not healthy.
Wow.
Yes. Then we come to what mental health is. When we are talking about mental health, we are talking about an individual realizing his or her own goals. Your ability to be able to be productive and fruitful. Your ability to have a good interpersonal relationship with people. And people around you. So if you are not able to do all these things well, then there is a problem and you need to be attended to.
Wow. So let me jump my questions because if you are not able to have a good interpersonal relationship with people, you have a problem with your mental. Can mood swings be a source of mental health?
Mood swing is a symptom or is a sign of a mental disorder.
Yeah.
And that is the extreme of it is what leads us to what we call the bipolar disorder that people are talking so much about.
We'll come to bipolar because bipolar, a lot of people are suffering bipolar without us even knowing because they have dual personality. Because one person can behave in a nice way today and the next moment. So
a lot of people are living with this. We term it as mood swings. But when these things tend to affect your social life, tend to affect the way you do your things, and affect who you are or your ability to go about your normal activities, then it's now a disorder and not a symptom.
So still with you, can somebody who today is very happy, mood swings, I'm still talking about mood swing, but tomorrow she's so, moody. When she's happy, she wants everybody to be happy. When she's angry, she wants everybody to be angry. Does that signify a red flag for mental health?
It is a red flag. It is a red flag. We can't say that the person is in quotes mad, but we can say that the person needs help because there are different kinds of people who behave this way. Some people's personalities
I was going to come to that.
behave this way. Some people's nurturing, when we talk about nurturing,
Their
it's how
upbringing.
they are brought up. This modern day is making it more deadly or more dangerous because as young as 1 year, we have exposed them to phones and they don't even know how to communicate with people. All they do is to be on their phones. We think it's okay because they tend not to worry us in any way. But that is the time the child is supposed to build a better relationship with the people around her. So if the person or the child is not able to build that relationship, how would she be able to cope with you or talk to people when they grow up? And this is what is bringing a lot of these problems. So they are symptoms when it continues for a longer time, to an extent that you are not able to have a meaningful relationship, that is one thing we consider in good mental health. The person is supposed to have a meaningful relationship. If you are not able to have a meaningful relationship because of this on and off behavior of yours, then we are sorry to say you are sick.
Wow. Does a person's temperament affect their mental health?
Yes, it does. So a person's temperament can affect their mental health. So she chipped in the issue of personality. Even some personality traits are prone.
Yes.
Especially the type A, the perfectionists. They want to get it right on purpose. But life is not 100%. We are not guaranteed 100% in this life that anything you do will succeed 100%. So the type A personality, for instance, are prone to mental health issues. Those with temperaments like the melancholia, they keep to themselves and all that. When they have issues, they can't share. And so they bear the burden alone.
You know, phlegmatics are also laid back. They are also that way.
So they keep the burden to themselves alone and suffer in silence. And so they die in silence. And so the day they commit suicide, nobody believes that they had a mental health issue. But they may have been suffering. Because in mental health, we say one of the things is coming out to even talk about your condition helps with recovery. The first step is to come out, step out, tell a friend about what you are going through, that you have a problem and I need help. But per their temperament,
they want to keep to themselves. Please, if you're a type A personality, you are a melancholy, you are a phlegmatic, please, or the NAC, National Association of Charismatic Counselors, have developed a fifth temperament that they call supine. Supine is also very laid back, like the phlegmatic. If we are in these personalities or in these temperaments, please reach out. If you are going through one thing or the other, reach out, talk to somebody, because I always say that a problem shared is a problem half solved. Sometimes we bottle stuff in and we die, and sometimes it gets to us. How many types of mental diseases do we have?
Okay, so there are many of them. There are so many of them. We have anxiety disorders. We have the personality disorders. We have the psychotic disorders. Yes. As we have others, the eating disorders, the sexual disorders. There are so many disorders, yes.
Okay. Well, I want us to zero in on bipolar first.
Okay.
What is a bipolar disorder?
Okay, so bipolar is a mood disorder or an affective disorder. What it simply means is that they have, like you said, mood swings. So there are two poles. So bipolar, let me just do this scenario. So there's like a straight line, a pole, with the manic stage and then the depressive stage at both ends. For the bipolars, they swing in between the poles. So they are manic for some time and quickly they swing back to depressive moods. So they have those mood swings. So you see them and then a week they are fine. 2 weeks they are manic. And when I say manic, they can even go naked. They spend, they do extreme things that are beyond understanding. A normal person wouldn't do. They would do when they're in the manic state. They can't sleep because they have excessive energy during the manic state. So they can clap for all night. They can walk about, go to friends' place. They will tell you. I saw a patient who said, I couldn't sleep. So even at night, she'll be playing music. The parents will be angry. She will be sweeping one job to another because she was in a manic state and there was excessive energy.
So if they're in their manic stage, they have so much energy to
so
waste.
much energy. Okay, so they can't sleep and all that. Without treatment medication, they won't be able to sleep. And then they straight back to the depressive. So the person you saw to be manic some time ago, all of a sudden becomes depressed. And depression has two main criteria, two main things you have to look out for. Low moods, lack of interest. The sleep is altered. When I say sleep is altered, there's disturbance in sleep. Either they are sleeping too much or too little, or they are not sleeping. There's disturbance in appetite. They are eating too much than they used to.
Or they are not eating at all.
Psychomotor retardation or agitation. They become withdrawn. They don't have the energy to move when they are in the depressive state. Or sometimes they even become more active, they are agitated. Okay. And then there is poor concentration. At the extreme end, they get to the suicidal stage. Sometimes they have, it's not all depressive patients who have suicidal thoughts, but they sometimes have suicidal thoughts. And that's where they have the thought they don't have any help.
So somebody can come to church. Today she's all nice, greeting everybody. The next moment, they are frowning to everybody. Please, if you see somebody like that, don't always get angry. I didn't used to know this. So sometimes I'm like, what is this person? So I won't even talk to you again. So that you wouldn't, because next moment you are nice, the next moment. So if somebody has a bipolar disorder, so are there people like that who do not even know that they have those?
A lot of them. A lot are underdiagnosed. But one thing I wanted to just chip in, when we are looking out for this disorders, it's not just a one-day thing. It should be persistent. So you shouldn't see that behavior in the person just once. Because we can all get angry, we can all flare up sometimes. But with this particular person,
not just the flaring up. Some people are very nice at a point, very, very nice. They are talking to everybody. The next, extremely nice. The next moment, when they see you, greeting you, crowd will know, you know, and it's like that, on and off, on and off.
So if it is continuous, you see the pattern. When I say pattern, it has been occurring over a period of time. Then it can give you an indication that the person has a mental health challenge. So we look at the frequency of the behavior.
So that's how you diagnose?
Yes, and then we look at the nature. So every culture and what is acceptable. A behavior may be acceptable in the UK, might not be acceptable here. Yeah. In the UK, you can move about not greeting anybody, and it's fine. But in our cultural setting, it's a problem. Yeah. So especially in a situation where you used to greet, and all of a sudden you are not greeting, you are moody, and all that. Look at the behavior and the cultural context to also determine whether it qualifies a mental disorder. We look at for distress. Is it causing distress to the person, to those around them? And then, like she said, is it interfering with daily functioning? So you see the person, she's no longer bathing. That's okay. Doesn't want to go to work. They are not themselves. They are locked in their rooms. Then it means it is interfering. Maybe if they are married, it's affecting their marital lives. Then you realize that they have some issue because then there's interference with daily functioning. So I just wanted to clear this up so that when we are looking out for mental health disorders, we look out for the pattern. Has she been doing this over a period of time? Is it causing distress
to the people around?
Is it impairing her daily functioning and all that? Then if you see this thing, then there's a red flag.
These topics are very, very broad, and I think that we should do a part 2 of this because I'm not sure we'll be able to exhaust everything. Maybe we should do part 2, part 3. Next time we'll look at one disorder, the other disorder, because a lot of things are happening to people, and sometimes there are people who have gone through deliverance upon deliverance upon deliverance, but we are spiritualizing things instead of getting help for them clinically. Apart from what she talked about, clinically, how do you diagnose somebody with a bipolar disorder?
Okay, so I am a mental health nurse, and the only difference between us and the clinical psychologist is our ability to give medications, what we call the antipsychotics. The main function of this, especially in a bipolar, what do we look out for? If the patient is in a manic stage, it means that there's so much energy, and if we don't calm this patient down, it might get to the worst, or he might even deteriorate. So like the patient might end up jumping off a story building because he's hearing voices or feels like doing it. And then one significant thing about this bipolar is their high sex drive, especially when they get to the manic stage. They can have sex for no reason, and because they feel like, and it's part of what they feel like doing. And it's so okay with them at that time. So we have medications for them. We give them medications to calm them down. They are not able to sleep. So these medications help them sleep. They are not able to eat. So one of the side effects of our medications, which we also see as good, is making them eat. They sleep for a longer time. The main reason why they sleep is when you sleep, the medication gets the time to correct the hormones that are or the enzymes that are high. We have what we call the dopamine and the serotonin, one going high, making you hyper, one coming low, making you this way.
Okay.
Yeah, so the medication tends to work on these things when you are sleeping, and it works better And then it also works on their drive. Like, it brings them down. Just as she was saying, it's two poles. So let's say her pole is the manic stage and I am the depressive stage. When she moves too much to that extent, we need to bring her to the middle. So it's the medications that bring them there. At that point, talking doesn't help because she will not even listen. She doesn't even have the energy to listen. She might sit and listen, but is not hearing. Yes, and then when they are in the depressive stage, we need to raise their mood because they stand a chance of being suicidal. And the depression is also very dangerous. Sometimes the family gets okay when they are depressed because she's not going to spoil anybody's things. She's not even going out. And by the time we realize, we have lost her. So that is even, I see that as more dangerous than even the mania, because at the manic stage, he's saying everything. In fact, nothing stays in here. Everything that goes in must come out. So if you make a mistake and you sleep with her, it will come out. And they give all their money out. And she will tell the whole world what she did for you. You don't have to be offended. That is the stage. The brain is just not ready to keep anything. Yes, so we give medications to correct both parts. And mostly we also do counseling. But because of the nature of our work, when we find ourselves in settings where there are no clinical psychologists, then it is burdened on us to give a detailed counseling. But when we are fortunate to have a clinical psychologist like we do have at LECMA, then we refer them to the clinical psychologist to take them through the therapies and then anything that would be of help to them, especially when they are calm enough to hear anything.
Okay, so I want to ask you, I don't know, before I come to my main question, something just dropped in my head. Is dyslexia a mental health issue?
So, yes, it falls under, so let me say it's one of the learning areas, difficulties. Dyslexia, inability to read, dyscalculia, inability to do mathematics, dysgraphia, you're right. So they have to do with the learning groups. Yes.
Okay.
So,
but it's not like a mental disorder.
Yeah, it's another category. So it's part, because part of the brain responsible for reading has been affected.
And once it's affecting the person's daily life,
they are not able to function in school and all that.
Yes, then we need to come in.
We need to come in. Yeah. But I just wanted to add up to what Madam Dorothy said with the medication. The treatment of mental health now is based on the biopsychosocial model. So in treating any of the mental health illness, we look at the holistic approach. So not just medication, like he's saying, not just psychotherapy, but we look at for other help for them. We bring in even the occupational therapists to help them with their daily functioning. Because some of them were working, but prior to their depressive mood, now they are laid back. They can't go back to work. They don't know even how to start work again. So we bring in these professionals to come and assist. So whilst we do the psychotherapy, the psychiatrist or the psychiatry nurse also help with medication, the other professionals, and even the social workers have to come in. Because through our intake assessment, we realize that there's something wrong with the environment in the state, influencing. If there's a social worker in the facility, we can fall on the social worker, or the psychologist himself or himself finds a way to get that information and then bring the family on board. So in treatment of these patients, clients, it is not just the individual. And that is one of the reasons why people online should be interested. When mental health, your family member has a mental health disorder, he doesn't suffer alone.
The whole family,
and even the community. Because when they are disturbing at night, you can't sleep. You can't have your peace of mind. So you should be interested. And the thing is, any day, any time at all, you can become a patient.
We are all of person
at risk of mental.
Is there any cause, or is just hereditary or generational?
Okay, so the cause has also been using the biopsychosocial model. There are biological causes, there are psychological causes, there are social and even spiritual causes now per the model. So in the initial days when you were sick, you go to the hospital. The assumption was that the cause of your illness is biological. You inherited it, or you have some infections, viral infection.
So you mean viral infection can cause a bipolar disorder?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But some infections in the brain can even cause that.
Okay.
Okay, so you have serious infection, that's true.
Any other condition?
mental health conditions.
Okay.
So the biological has to do with the genetics. If there's history, you have the trait in the bloodline, especially schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. If it's in the bloodline, you can eat it. So that's the genetics. And the other one has to do with the neurotransmitters, abnormal brain chemistry. Okay, so the neurotransmitters are like messengers. So they send message from one neuron to another. If you have deficiency in those neurotransmitters, you have a problem. You can have this mental disorder, especially like depression, the serotonin, the dopamine. They are called, they are happy neurotransmitters. For you to become happy, you need those neurotransmitters. But unfortunately, some have less amount of those neurotransmitters. And so you give in the SSNRIs, those medications to boost the neurotransmitters. And then brain damage. Okay. And even the gender has a role in mental health. There are some conditions that the female gender are more at risk, like depression.
Like depression.
Yes. They have gender, they have makeup.
Today, we'll zero in on the bipolar, schizophrenia, sex addiction. We'll zero in today on that one. When we come another time, we'll talk about other ones. So I'll be having more of you here for us to, because I believe that the church, the Christian must be aware of their mental health, because most of us, we are not aware of what we are going through. A lot of us are going through depression, but we are not. I'll let you give us symptoms towards the end, maybe when we come back. I want to know, are there levels of, so let me come to her, I should still be here. Maybe you can throw it to her if, levels of the disorder, the bipolar disorder, maybe stage 1, stage 2, stage 3.
Okay, so with all mental health conditions, there are levels. There are people who come in the mild stage, those who come in the moderate stages, and then those who come in the very severe stages. So it doesn't mean that the symptoms are not there. What it only means is that maybe the person has a better support system, or the person has a better constituent, so he's able to handle this. An example is a situation like someone losing the father. Not everyone gets so broken about it. Some are broken, but they are not showing it too much. Some are going so extra about it. Some are so, it looks like the person is exaggerating, but at that point I don't see it as exaggeration. Some even hear the mention of death and then they just faint. Some hear it and it's okay, let's just let it go. So our body makeup has a role to play in that. Yes, as well as our support system. Our support system also has a role to play in that. Someone can lose a relative and everyone is around them, keeping them, it's okay, you can go through this. Someone will not even come out for you to see what he or she is going through, but rather channel it to church, or you see a change in their behavior. Let's assume I'm married, my husband has traveled, and then he comes in, and then within that period, I get so withdrawn. People in my house will think that I'm avoiding them because my husband is in. But it might be that I'm going through a very delicate thing or a marital issue. So instead of us coming close to know and then help, we rather sit back and we criticize. And then I always say it in my when I get the opportunity, we used to say that a problem half shared is solved, but now it's not like that. It's shared with the right persons. That is when the clinical psychologist comes in. Let the person understand that it is not everyone you can share your problems with. Some share their problems and that was their end of, it's the end of their situation, because it's just like going to post it on social media. Yes, you look at what is going on now. People's secrets that they have trusted people with, and then with the least provocation, it's out there. The serious allegations on Facebook, and then you ask yourself, are we safe? So it is no more with sharing your problem with someone, but we as professionals have sworn allegiance to keep people's confidential issues as confidential. So if you are so tight, bottled up, and then you need someone to talk to, you come. You can't imagine the number of hours we sit just to listen to people. They talk and they talk and they talk and they vent out, and we are just listening because it helps. Some people have been going to the hospital with pains, with conditions that could not be found. We run labs and we are not seeing anything. We make them do this x-rays, this imaging, and we are still not seeing anything in it. All they need to do is to talk to the clinical psychologist. It is something they are suppressing. It is a pain they are suppressing that is giving them all these symptoms. So someone says, I have heart pains, I have chest pains, I have back pains, I even have constipation for years. And it's stress.
Wow.
All they need to do is to talk. And then
someone.
all these things just vanishes without any medication. That is the psychosomatic disorders.
Wow. I have a question here. Are some professions considered as a contributing factor that fuels mental disorder?
So she's trying to say some peculiar professions. Yes. For some of the professions, it comes with its own stress. For instance, working with the security services, a lot of stress. Okay. So if you are in a particular profession where you hardly have vacations, you hardly have free time for yourself, then definitely, I don't want to be mentioning professions, otherwise I'll be held responsible. But definitely,
so you can mention professions like pastors. We don't sleep.
Yes,
we are going up and down.
And
so stress.
Yes.
Stress can cause mental disorder.
And the unfortunate thing is because we are not aware that we are vulnerable, especially when it comes to the Christendom.
We take everything
Spiritual.
Spiritual.
God will protect
and
me.
Holy
God
Holy
is with me. So the pastor can fast. I had a pastor who fasted for about 6 months and he was admitted.
Hey,
For
Jesus
ulcer.
fasted 40 days.
Yes. So you see, so going about to help others without caring for yourself.
Yeah.
So mental health starts with caring for yourself. Self-care. You have to be fine.
Did you
first to
hear
give
that?
Others
Please
their
put
best.
the camera on me. Like, did you hear that? Mental health starts from yourself.
Yes, caring for yourself.
Caring for yourself. Take care of you first, because if you don't care for yourself, you might end up with a mental disease. Wow.
Because if you are not fine, how can you give to others? What you don't have, you can't give. You see, so if you are fine yourself, mentally you are stable, that is when you can help others. Are you getting me? So there are a lot of examples, biblical examples. David, if you read the Psalms of Lamentation, he lamented throughout. Clear signs of depression with David. Judas Iscariot, suicide. Samson, suicide. People don't know that bringing the building upon himself was a sign of suicide, but it was suicide. Saul didn't want his opponent to kill him. So he said, let me end it myself. And that's suicide, killing yourself. And there are people in our modern generation, when you talk about bipolar, Florence Nightingale, the founder of modernness, after her death, through her diaries and letters, they discovered she suffered bipolar.
Wow.
She suffered bipolar. She was asking God, one of her letters, why can't she be happy like the other people?
So bipolar can be the way that mild. It could be mild, like you said.
Yes.
So maybe mild bipolar disorder. The person is not happy. It's not showing. The person is not exhibiting anything that anybody could see and say this
It's
is bipolar.
showing, but it's not really affecting much of her social life. So that person, if you are not too close to, would not know that there is a problem. So I am a sanguine by personality. So I'm always smiling.
Yeah.
I'm always happy.
Yeah.
And then I come to church and you see me very quiet. And every song that the choir sings, I cry to it.
There's
These
a problem.
things we shouldn't mistake all tears to spirituality. You know, some people are so broken that it is only in the church that we can cry, and then people will not see it through our tears.
Yes.
So people come in and they are so broken, and it looks like they are being so religious, but they are not being religious. There is something really eating them up, and all they need to do is pour it there. Someone can be so broken that even the national anthem can make them cry.
I love that. Even the national anthem
Yes,
can make them. When we come back, When we come back, we are talking about schizophrenia. We'll be right back. Minake, any is Facebook question, so now. Okay.
Now it looks like almost all the
Oh, my darling, it's not easy.
are prone to
It is hard to do.
Yes.
Now, all those saying it is not easy, it is hard to do, it is not easy, it is hard to do, I understand. But if you will avail yourself to be taken through the process of teaching of the Bible, the new kingdom you want to belong to is a kingdom of forgiveness.
Then it means being a Christian and walking like Christ. It's
That
not
is
easy
why
at all.
I get angry, because being a Christian is not because you are driving cars,
Okay.
not because you have built houses, not because you have a fat bank account, because non-Christians have all these. This is what makes a Christian because our kingdom is a kingdom born out of forgiveness.
So if you can't forgive, like the Lord's Prayer says, and forgive us our trespasses
As-
as we forgive.
So I
it's
want
a
to tell you
condition.
from today, don't pray that prayer if you can't forgive.
So it means forgive every sin at all.
It's yours not being forgiven.
Wow. Yeah.
It is okay to hurt. So it says, be angry, but don't let the sin.
sun
So
go down.
anger is necessary. But what you do when
With the
angry
anger. Yeah.
is what convicts you and condemns you.
Wow.
Oh, my darling, it's not easy. It is hard to do.
Yes.
Now, all those saying it is not easy, it is hard to do, it is not easy, it is hard to do, I understand. But if you will avail yourself to be taken through the process of teaching of the Bible, the new kingdom you want to belong to is a kingdom of forgiveness.
Then it means being a Christian and walking like Christ. It's
That
not
is
easy
why
at all.
I get angry, because being a Christian is not because you are driving cars,
Okay.
not because you have built houses, not because you have a fat bank account, because non-Christians have all these. This is what makes a Christian because our kingdom is a kingdom born out of forgiveness.
So if you can't forgive, like the Lord's Prayer says, and forgive us our trespasses
As-
as we forgive.
So I
it's
want
a
to tell you
condition.
from today, don't pray that prayer if you can't forgive.
So it means forgive every sin at all.
It's yours not being forgiven.
Wow. Yeah.
It is okay to hurt. So it says, be angry, but don't let the sin.
sun
So
go down.
anger is necessary. But what you do when
With the
angry
anger. Yeah.
is what convicts you and condemns you.
Wow.
Oh, my darling, it's not easy. It is hard to do.
Yes.
Now, all those saying it is not easy, it is hard to do, it is not easy, it is hard to do, I understand. But if you will avail yourself to be taken through the process of teaching of the Bible, the new kingdom you want to belong to is a kingdom of forgiveness.
Then it means being a Christian and walking like Christ. It's
That
not
is
easy
why
at all.
I get angry, because being a Christian is not because you are driving cars,
Okay.
not because you have built houses, not because you have a fat bank account, because non-Christians have all these. This is what makes a Christian because our kingdom is a kingdom born out of forgiveness.
So if you can't forgive, like the Lord's Prayer says, and forgive us our trespasses
As-
as we forgive.
So I
it's
want
a
to tell you
condition.
from today, don't pray that prayer if you can't forgive.
So it means forgive every sin at all.
Is yours not being forgiven?
Wow. Yeah.
It is okay to hurt. So it says, be angry, but don't let the sun. So
go down.
anger is necessary. But what you do when
With the
angry
anger. Yeah.
is what convicts you and condemns you.
Wow. Welcome back to the Glam Show. I am sure you are enjoying yourselves. I have so many questions, but we have limited time. So like I said, we'll do part 2, part 3 of this. Do you agree? Are you going to come back? Are you going to come back? So let me go to our Facebook questions. So let me come to you. Is forgetfulness a mental disorder?
So it's a symptom. It's not, yes, so it's a symptom. When I say symptom, it's an indication that you may be having a mental disorder, you see. So forgetfulness in dementia, so memory loss as a result of aging. So you see some people who age and they forget their children. They are not able to even tell. Recently, I listened to Olu Jacob's wife, and she said the husband is battling with dementia. So he gets into contact with people he has acted with and can't make them out. Okay, so it's a symptom. Okay. But it does not necessarily mean that you have a mental disorder. We have to check the pattern. And see to be able to.
This question has been answered already. Between both sexes, which is more prone to mental health, like you said, the women, or is
It's
depression?
not both. But
It
with
depends
some
on
of the conditions,
particular mental health
yes,
issue. Let's say substance abuse.
the men.
It's the men. But when we come to
Broken hearts.
broken hearts,
The women.
now the men are almost
At par with the
this
women.
time
The women too are
beating
breaking
them
their
for
hearts.
good. And the funny thing is, for them, they just can't cope. When it happens this way, they want to end it.
But the women, we are
But
sort
the
of
women,
strong.
because we talk about it, we cry it out and everything, it helps us in the recovery. But the men, before he comes out to tell you, this one, it has over me, then
He's dying.
the heart is almost scattered. Yes.
Okay.
So like she said, there are specific conditions and then the gender differences that come with it. So the substance-related issues, the men are more prone, antisocial disorders. So they will flat loss.
How about the sex? Is it sex addiction?
Yes.
Men and women who are prone to.
Okay, so I think
I say it's
they are at
equal
par.
now.
They are at par.
Yes, because this time women are doing anything to be sexually satisfied. Same with men. They are doing what you can't even think of. Sleeping with whatever they want to sleep with, just to be okay. So this time,
Is that a mental disorder?
it is.
It is.
It
Because
is.
I talked about the behavior and the cultural context, the context in which the behavior occurs. It may be normal in one culture, but in our culture, especially in the African culture, it is. So we look at the type of behavior and the context in which the behavior is occurring.
Okay, so somebody is married or in a relationship with somebody, and the husband or the boyfriend wants sex every day, every time.
Okay, so it doesn't become a disorder. It becomes a disorder when they have what? Distress.
Issues with it.
When they have problems. If they're okay.
No, if the woman has I'm not sure you're a woman. I'm a woman. No woman will want sex morning after evening.
No,
Some
they are.
do. Maybe
Okay. Let me just come in with. We have the sex maniacs and the nymphonics. They're sex addicts.
Yeah.
So if two of them meet, wow,
Some
they're
do.
jail.
That's someone's classification of a husband she wants. Like she makes you aware I'm a sex person. So not one, not two. Be ready to give me 4 or 5 a day.
Every day.
Yes, and they meet their kind of men. So it's after food, it's sex. After food, it's sex. Anywhere, anyhow.
And there's nothing wrong with
Yes,
that.
they are
If it's
so
not
okay.
causing any distress to
If
them.
they are okay with it, we are okay with it too. If they are okay with it.
Okay, so what? How about somebody who is so addicted that the wife, the woman, the partner cannot satisfy.
Okay, so
And they'll have to maybe goes elsewhere, or a woman that the husband cannot satisfy, so they use sex toys and stuff.
if it's okay with them, as we said, then it's okay.
But if it becomes a bother to the other person,
Then there's a problem.
Then there is a problem because it's affecting their relationship and it's making the relationship not meaningful
okay,
at that point.
so let's say somebody, a sex maniac, meets somebody who is not a sex maniac, then it becomes a problem.
Yes. That is if they decide to be together. But why would you even be with him if he had made his points clear to you? I have this person I'm seeing, and her complaint is her husband wakes her up, even at sleep, to have sex. And not once, not twice. It should be like 4 times before the day breaks. And she's now troubled with it. She's now not okay. So my question was, you've been married for close to 5 years. Were you okay? She said she was very much okay. She was the one even initiating it. So why now? So it means you, the woman, has a problem. Because you were okay. And you made him understand that you are okay. So what is the problem now? It could be that something is making you lose interest. So at this point, I am not going to focus on the sex as a problem, but what is
making
you lose the interest? Because you had so much interest. And if anyone started it was you. Because you were initiating it. And now he's loved it. Now he's waking you up when he comes back from work at 12. And it should be 4 sex before day breaks. And you are crying. Why should you cry?
Let me also add up.
I want to add something before you add up. Can low libido also be a cause of mental
Big. Especially when it comes to sexual problems, the men, they can't handle it all. A man with erectile dysfunction, low sperm count, I'm telling you, it's tantamount, especially in our culture.
Yeah.
It's tantamount to
suicide?
A man made a comment. He said,
Oh, wow.
yes. And I was like, why should he say that? I said, the day he's told he ceases to be a man sexually, he would personally end his life, because then what makes him a man?
okay. So
And this is a man almost 60 years.
okay.
60.
Yes. So why should you die because of sex?
So his identity is in
It's sex.
his ability to
Yes.
perform.
Hey.
And low libido, mostly with we women, I can talk as a woman, when you are stressed, that is when the sex thing becomes a problem. When a woman is stressed, tired, broke, everything, you just can't, sexually you are low. So if someone is losing interest in sex, it is one of the main things we consider. It means that
If your feelings change,
Yes.
if your
Towards
feelings
your
change
partner.
towards your partner,
Yes.
you might have a low libido.
Yes.
And it could also be a mental
there is a
health.
problem. There is something causing the low libido. It doesn't just come by itself.
I think I'll bring you here for us to talk mainly about
Sex.
yes.
Yes,
And
we would
then
love
sex
to.
and mental health, because it's a very broad topic, and I know my audience will like it very, very, very much. Okay, so we talked about the as some professions consider that, okay, anytime somebody said anytime I'm sad and I have sex, I feel very happy and feel it that she have a mental disorder.
So their fear is that this person may become an addict. She's using sex as a coping mechanism. This is dangerous. Okay, so anytime you are sad, it means you have to get sex. Ask yourself, will your husband
Be there.
available when you are sad?
To be that tablet.
So it means
every time.
yes. So it's a coping mechanism, but this is a negative coping mechanism. Are you getting
It's
me?
a
So
negative
coping
coping
mechanism.
mechanism.
Like somebody also going to take alcohol because they are sad.
Sad. Or
Because they have a
taking
problem.
drugs, be on drug because they are okay. So please, this person, please get help, because it's a disorder. At what stage will we say, hey, please, I won't mention this person's name. The person say, at what stage will we say this person has reached, and what is a family doing about? Please, I'm not going to mention anybody's name for them to come and sue me on this program. So this question is out. Okay, so have you ever handled a situation and later found out it was spiritual? Let me come to you.
Okay, so yes. So I've handled cases where I didn't find out they were spiritual, but the client believed it's spiritual. So, like I was saying, we use the biopsychosocial model of treatment.
So
So
for
what
a
we do-
layman,
Yes.
what is biopsych
Okay,
Whatever.
so the biopsychosocial model
psychosocial model?
simply means that health, illness is not caused by one single factor.
Okay.
So there's no one single factor like the biomedical model. Initially, the biomedical model was a model for treatment and diagnosis of diseases. They said that illness, any sickness, was as a result of one single factor, not the biological factor. But there was this man by name George Engel, challenged this model and said, no, the absence of disease does not mean one is well. Doesn't make one well. So it could be that I'm here. I don't have any viral infection, any fungal infection, but I'm still unwell. Because there are some going through a lot. If you lose your job, you lose your wife, you lose all your property in one day, and you cannot sleep. You are losing weight. You can't eat. You've lost hope. You are in despair. And you have lost maybe 20 kg in one month. Are you well?
You're not.
They'll test you. The lab results will show you are fine.
But it's
Because there's
spiritual.
because there's no germs.
Okay.
Infection. There's no disease. So the absence of disease does not necessarily make one well.
Okay.
So he said there are psychological factors as well that contribute to health and to illness.
Okay.
There are social factors. So social factors, for instance, if a child is coming from a broken home where he's neglected, not getting the necessary food, nourished food not getting the social support he needs, this child may suffer from mental health challenges.
Okay.
Okay, so this is affecting the child, but it's not biological.
It can
It's
be
rather
spiritual.
psychological or social. The broken home is contributing to
So
the
I think
child's health.
to add up to it, our profession doesn't allow us to state that this is spiritual or this is not spiritual, because we are not trained in any spiritual way to be able to see the spiritual aspect of it. But what we do is that when you come in with these problems, we do not cease you from attending to what you believe in. So we as mental health nurses have this collaboration with the traditional and spiritual council, so that once in a while we have meetings with them. Some of the churches allow us in when they see people with mental health disorders. Those with the prayer comes, keeping people there, allow us in. We come in, talk to the people there. Someone believes that even with this medication, if the pastor says a word of prayer on it, it's okay for me. And with our culture, we are so much spiritually biased in a way. So we don't seize you from having your spiritual beliefs and all that, but we are trying to incorporate the health aspect or the mental health aspect into the spiritual thing. So we liaise with pastors who call us in when they have people with mental health issues. Someone comes in with what they term the high fever, and then the pastor will call us in. We will give medications to this client, allow us see the client, and then he will tell the client, this is the medication I have they've given you. I'll pray with you and make sure you get better. And believe you me, it works better because our God is able to do anything. We don't seize you from having your spiritual, if you believe in traditionalists or pouring your own libation, we would not seize you, because that is your belief, and that is one of the things that makes you socially strong. There are people, even before surgery, they want their pastor to say a word of prayer.
Yeah.
We allow you. That is more of the biopsychosocial model, allowing you socially, whatever you would have done in your home, do it here. We would allow you.
Okay, so like she said, even with the psychological bit, there's a component of spirituality. There's spiritual therapies that we do.
Yeah.
Connecting you to your source of power, to what you believe in. So yes, some clients, like I was saying earlier, will say that they believe it's spiritual. We don't dispute it. We don't challenge them. Seek the spiritual help. We explain to them. Once we do the professional bit, the psychological bit, and hand in hand,
It helps.
it helps.
So I have a question here, but I'm not sure it's directed to you.
Okay.
Gifty Kwale, you have to be careful where you are. Eh? She says that you should leave your contact, that she needs help. If it's low libido, then she needs help. And so maybe I'll let you leave your contacts, but somebody is asking, the question is that using a sex toy, if it's a sin. As a clinical psychologist, what will you say about using a sex toy?
So we as clinical psychologists, we are not pastors. We don't delve into sin or not sin.
Yes, moral issues.
No, it's not within our domain. What will be appropriate for you, what you believe in, is what you do. So whether it's a sin, it's not a sin. It's an individual thing.
For me,
so
as a pastor, I'll say it's a sin because any form of sexual act outside of marriage is sin.
But to an extent that you carry the sex toy to work, and during your break time, sit in your office seat and then be using it, then we are talking of an addiction.
And then masturbation also,
and then it means you're getting off the normal context of it.
Okay.
Once it affects your social life, there are some people, even at a meeting, they have to go out and smoke. It's affecting your social life. So once it's become, even in your office, you have to lock the door and then find some 2 minutes to use your sex toy. Then this time it's no more fun. We are going into the disorder.
We are wrapping up, but I want to ask you the last one, and then we are wrapping up. Masturbation to a point that it becomes, like she's saying, an addiction. 6, 7, 8, 10 times in a day, and you are masturbating. Is it a mental disorder?
Clearly. Because you see, it becomes overwhelming. When they don't engage in it, they are not themselves. They can't sleep. I saw a case which we later referred to, I think, one of the psychiatric hospitals, because our resident psychiatrist was on leave. And this is somebody who is strong in the house of God. So when I say strong, people believe him. He's a true Christian.
A pastor.
I won't mention, but he was battling with masturbation. And you see, it was so overwhelming that the guilt was killing him, to a point where he started having psychotic symptoms. He couldn't sleep, he was hallucinating, the delusions started setting in. Because of one thing, one masturbation. And because of his religious background, anytime he engages in it, afterwards, he feels the guilt. And the guilt was not just the small guilt. It was big. He stands in front of the church, preach,
But
and then
at the back of his
mind, he knows what he's doing. So after preaching, and then he gets to sit down.
The Holy Spirit convicts him.
And even
he will say the negative thoughts. He starts to have negative thoughts about himself, about what is going on.
I encountered someone who was so much into masturbation to the extent that even his male organ became bruised.
It could get to that point?
Yes.
Because they masturbate
he
uses
was
of
a top
materials.
person in church. Like, I would state, a praise and worship leader. So that after every session, he goes out into the washroom, and anything he gets, he used it to the extent that there were bruises.
Wow.
Yes. And sometimes the urge is so much that he's doing it, he's crying because he's feeling the pain. But the urge to do it, he just couldn't contain it. So do we call this pleasure? At this point, it's no more pleasurable. Okay. We need to come in.
So with addiction, one of the difficult disorders to treat.
And someone at a point decided to cut off his manhood.
Yes.
You don't mean it.
Yes,
cut off the manhood.
Yes, that was his problem.
Yes.
So we noticed he was psychotic. So the mental disorder has now set in, and the voices are telling him, cut that thing off and be free. So he took blade and took part of it, and then he was rescued.
Yes.
Wow.
So it can end in anything. It can make them suicidal as well. They kill themselves.
For people to know they would rather die.
The guilt.
In fact, we are bringing them back because we've not gotten anywhere at all. But so soon our time is up, and in fact I want more. But my team, my crew are on my head. I have to wrap up. We are bringing them back. In fact, we are going to have a lot of more topics. Christianity and masturbation. We are having a lot more topics that we are coming back to treat. I want you to leave your number, Eliza.
Okay, so the number is 0240-537839. 0240-537839.
So if you need any body to talk to as a clinical psychologist, you can call Miss Ampofo. Can you leave your number, please?
Okay, my number is 0246 68 31 40. 0246 68 31 40.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Dorothy,
so
for
much.
coming. Thank you so much, Eliza, for coming.
so much for
I've
having
really enjoyed your company. They want you to mention your number.
So the number, Eliza, my number is 0240-537839. 0240-537839.
Okay, and your number again?
0246 68 31 40.
Somebody can just type it on the comment section for those who are looking for the number. I want to thank you so much. I've had a lot of fun being with you two women, and you're going to be my regular guest because we have a lot to talk about on this set. It's very educative. And so this has been the Glam Show. If you want to sponsor us, please, we need sponsors. You can call us on 0244-674347. If you have a product you want us to advertise for you, your company, whatever you want us to advertise for you, will be there. Let me acknowledge my sponsors. Today, my clothing was by Libido. Libido, you can call Libido for all your bridal, whatever needs. She's there to sort you out. 0243-517-438, Libido. And my makeup was by Shades by Penna. Shades by Penna, 059-8857-307. My hair has always been by Flora Hair. Please follow her on all her social media handles. And to the BHWI crew, I want to say, my production team, you are so on point. Thank you. You are super. I love you. My floor managers, my crew, my cameraman, please, thank you so much. I appreciate you. We are praying for us to get sponsors, and when we get sponsors, I'll sort you out big time. God bless you, and please share. Let somebody be blessed by whatever we talked about today. I'm bringing them on the next broadcast. We are coming back. May the Lord bless you, and we love it. This has been Gloria Kafui Lamptey on the Glam Show. God bless you.
Oh, my darling, it's not easy. It is hard to do.
Yes.
Now, all those saying it is not easy, it is hard to do, it is not easy, it is hard to do, I understand. But if you will avail yourself to be taken through the process of teaching of the Bible, the new kingdom you want to belong to is a kingdom of forgiveness.
That means being a Christian and walking like Christ. It's
That
not
is
easy
why
at all.
I get angry, because being a Christian is not because you are driving cars.
Okay.
Not because you have built houses. Not because you have a fat bank account. Because non-Christians have all these. This is what makes a Christian because our kingdom is a kingdom born out of forgiveness.
So if you can't forgive, like the Lord's Prayer says, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive.
I want to tell you from today, don't pray that prayer if you can't forgive.
So it means forgive every sin at all.
It's yours not being forgiven.
Wow. Yeah.
It is okay to hurt. So it says, be angry, but don't let the sun. So anger is necessary. But what you do when angry
yeah,
is what convicts you and condemns you.
Wow.